Okay, so today we're going to take a look at UV particles. It's a pro node and it's pretty powerful. But before we drop it down, we want to make sure to change the project settings to be 16-bit. So 16-bit essentially allows you to go beyond white and below black. So your colors can be above 1 and below 0, and you have a lot more detail. So this is useful for the UV particles node. So if we drag in a UV particles, we need something to displace it with. So a UV map. You can create a UV map by taking two gradients, or you can take a default metal and you can see connected to the UV particles. And the default background is currently transparent. Let's see if we can see the particles. So if we bring up the particle size here, we can see that it's starting in the center now, the particles, and they're based off of the UV texture. So we're going to need levels here to change the offset. Okay, so we're going to grab a levels. You're going to take the UV texture, and if you don't have max, you can choose to use gradients, as I said before. Maybe I should just test that. Let's try to make a setup with the gradients instead. So let's delete the metal. Let's create a gradient. We're going to need two gradients. So by default, you can see that the gradients look a bit shifted towards the lighter color. It's because we're in 16-bit mode, and that's how it renders currently. So we want one horizontal and one vertical gradient. So the horizontal gradient is the x-axis, so that should go from black to red. So we want to choose a pure red color, like this. And then the vertical one, we want a pure green color. And now we want to merge these together with a blend. So we blend these together. And then we have essentially a UV map. We want to take it into the levels to shift the offset minus 0.5. And then we drag that into the UV particles. And that creates a uniform particle space, so we can see that all the particles are now in a grid. So now when you work with UV particles, displacement is made with color. So if we want to displace this, we can drag in some noise and we blend it essentially. Instead of using a displace, we use a blend. So we drag in the levels and then something we want to displace with, and then we choose add here. The noise, we want to have it colored, and then we drag in the blend into the UV particles. So let's animate this to see some interaction. We go to floats, we take a wave, and let's slow down this wave. Let's hook it up to the noise. Let's drag it into the motion, and that should start animating the UV particles. So that's essentially how you can work with UV particles. There's some options like particle size. So there's some other options here, the has size. So has size is the blue channel. If you include has size, then the blue channel controls how big they are. Has alpha, the alpha channel controls how much alpha each particle has. And has clip alpha essentially clips off all alpha below 1. Anyway, it's some settings you can explore if you want to. Anyway, that's UV particles. Thanks.